to any combo lords joining me on this nice afternoon or whatever time zone you happen to be in. Today, I wanted to show you some funny things I found and collected last night related to whether robots are able to understand and convey humor yet. Now, this is going to be using the common chat robot ChatGPT, and the thing about that and many similar AIs is that they create stuff in quotes. You might have missed me putting create in quotes, but they're not really creating stuff. They're amalgamating other things that have already been generated by other people, or possibly other robots. And so we have to remember that when we see something here, I think it's okay to share on stream and look at it, but don't publish something that one of these AIs creates as your own. Similar is true for AI art. Cool to create if you want to for fun, but I would say try not to publish that as your own art unless you know where its data was sourced from. Because today, all the jokes that are going to be generated were amalgamations and combinations of bits and pieces of jokes that other people had already told online. And it's hard to say how similar the answers we're going to get are to those. I tried to steer the robot to amalgamate it or mix it up as much as possible and generate jokes that were different, that it thought maybe hadn't been said in history before. But there is a whole little build-up to the sort of series of things related to jokes that I did here. From trying to get it to create the funniest jokes it could, to seeing what it thought would be the least funny jokes, to even plugging in a little info about myself to get it to roast me. And honestly, the best thing it was able to do, the most clever out of all of it, was the roast of me. So it pretty thoroughly roasted me. We'll get to that in a bit. There's a long thread here I'm going to start at the top of and be skimming a bit, but showing a good portion of. And first, before I jump fully in, let me also note to anybody who wants to learn some math stuff, I did put out a bonus video about primes on this channel yesterday. Additionally, on my main combo class channel, I'll have a new episode coming soon, and so check the description for links to those things if you do leave this stream early at some point. Now, here is how we began. And have a sip of coffee ready because this robot, it will make us laugh, but it'll also somewhat stretch our patience, or at least when I was trying to talk to it, because the robots are silly. They don't quite know how to communicate yet. And I also found some things it refuses to do, things that it is codified to not do, even though it pretends it's very open to things like that. Things where it'll pretend it'll do something, but won't really. We'll get to those as well. But first, I asked, give me a list of 5 mathematical jokes. The first should be hilariously funny. Each further one on the list should be an edited version of the previous joke where you edited it to make it even more hilarious. I thought they got it from their response, but they gave me 5 different jokes. So here they're similar, but it's like different jokes related to equal signs. And I meant, no, what I wanted, not different jokes. Edit the joke. I want the same punchline of the joke, but I want you to recraft it many times so it gets what you think is a funnier delivery of that punchline. So here's where that begins. Original joke. Why was the equal sign so humble? Because it knew it wasn't less than or greater than anyone else. And that is a decent joke. You know, it's equal. It's not less than or greater than anyone else. It's not making me crack up laughing, but I can see the humor there. But now we get number 2, edited for more hilarity. Why was the equal sign so ridiculously humble? Because it knew it wasn't even close to being less than or greater than anyone else, not even by a tiny bit. Now, I don't know if that actually made it funnier. It kind of put the punchline still after a similar amount of time and then added some more stuff after. And so I think it would be funnier myself if you build up and have the punchline sort of at the end still. But in any case, it went a few layers deeper. And with this thread, we're going to jump to the fifth, what they call, I like the names, turned up even more. Hilarious exaggeration overload. Final boss of hilarity. So we're skipping to final boss of hilarity for a moment. Why was the equal sign insufferably, astronomically humble? Because it literally went around handing out flyers that read, I promise, I swear, on my infinite symmetry, I will never be less than or greater than anyone else, not even by an infinitesimal speck. Please love me. Now, this ending is kind of out of the blue, the please love me part. It doesn't necessarily contribute to the punchline. It's like almost like the robot is saying this, please love me or something. I love it as part of the joke in sort of a surrealist way, but I don't know if this is how I would tell the joke. Still, this is, at this point, what they have gone to of refining a joke 5 times. So then I say, okay, and I know they're not actually always going to do this. If I say iterate it 10 times, they're probably going to shortcut it and just be like, this is my guess of what happens if I do that. Not actually iterate it, but I'm trying as much as I can to refine the humor. And so I said, calculate the joke you'd get if you iterated this process 10 times and tell me that version of the joke. And they say, all right, let's go full throttle on this. Da-da-da-da-da. And this is the iterated joke. Why was the equal sign infinitely, cosmically, inconceivably humble? Because it didn't just gently whisper to the universe that it wasn't less than or greater than anyone else. It screamed it from every... And this is the funny thing, is it's putting the punchline so soon. If you want to stretch out a joke, you build up to the punchline more. You don't go to the punchline and then just tell this story about like the mood of it. It screamed it from every mountain, ocean, and black hole until every particle in the known and unknown multiverse heard it and started chanting, "We bow to your unyielding perfection." It then created a worldwide PR campaign to make sure that the message of its... Now, this is a bad pun. 0 is not a transcendental number. So... not a good pun right there, but transcendental equality was clear, precise, and plastered on every single blade of grass, every single molecule, and even the deepest corners of quantum space, with the tagline, I am not greater or less than you. See, the joke would be so much better if they didn't put the less than or greater here and they just saved it till here. I am not greater or less than you. I am the embodiment of cosmic balance. By the way, I think I can make this a little bigger because we don't really need to see the side thing there. Let's get it. There we go. Okay. And they say, at this point, the joke has spiraled out of control into an all-encompassing universe of humbleness. And so I asked, okay, now if it were iterated 1,000 times... This is the iterated joke. I don't even think I'm going to read this whole thing out loud. There's a lot to get to in this stream. But look at this joke. And they say the joke would not just be a joke at this point. It would be a cosmic event. I said, that looks more like what would happen after 20 iterations. Give me 1,000 iterations. And I was trying to just see how crazy they can go with this, of what they think is adding humor. This is the iterated joke after 1,000 times. And it's like a whole story. It generated a paradox. We start looping time. And, oh, they still have the bit about the worldwide PR campaign, this time called a press tour. It wrote a novel in this one, The Infinite Humility of Being Equal. And it says it is now the textbook for all universal education. So 0 wins at the end of this story. And let's see, to look at our comments real quick, someone says, tell black humor. If you mean like dark humor, like humor that's about grim things and that makes it funny, we can get to that here. I did ask it to come up with the scariest things about math it could. So when we get to the end, maybe I'll come back to that comment and type some new things. And maybe I'll ask it, what is the darkest humor joke you can come up with? For now, I said, in that style of joke, tell me another joke. This one is about, why was the square root of 1 eternally, incomprehensibly, and unfathomably sad? It was about it being imaginary. It wrote an endless book called The Lost Reality of... Oh, wait. Is this getting cut off here? It looks like... Oh, no, we're good. The lost reality of imaginary numbers. And it generated an infinite number of parallel universes where the square root of -1 never existed at all. All right, if you want some things related to imaginary numbers, it is related to the most recent combo class episode on my main channel. So make sure if you ever leave the stream to check out the playlist in the description. That is all the main episodes of the current grade we are in. So I asked for some more. I'm not going to read through every bit of these jokes because it's funnier to skim through and see different things I asked, but then it did another one about 0 again, but this time... Oh, no, wait. It was the equal sign before. So this is about 0 being super lonely. So it was questioning everything. They always write a long, self-reflective novel. Every one of these long jokes contains... a book in a book that we don't get to see. But we do get to hear about in a lot of detail. Okay, and one more I asked on this theme, and this was about why Pi was so frustrated. And I don't think this one is really based as much on like some wordplay they go into, unless they say something about irrationality here. But it's mostly just about how pi is like, has some crazy traits as an irrational number. And it goes off on how frustrated pi was. It even tried to form a support group for irrational numbers, only to find out that none of them could ever agree on anything. That's pretty funny because they're irrational. So, oh, I did one more of this, I guess. This was about why the Fibonacci sequence was so fascinated by itself, because it had a self-replicating loop. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that, but they could mean some things. If we look at the Fibonacci sequence in different mods, as I made an episode about once, it does follow a loop. They also could mean something about it approaching a growth rate of the golden ratio, but it's sort of weird to just say it like this because it doesn't really loop unless you're specifying something. So anyway, the Fibonacci sequence, that's the star of that joke. So now I was like, okay, that's good for those types of jokes. They're whole little novels. Let me try some other forms of humor we're going to try and get out of this robot. So I said, okay, tell me the same type of joke, but it's a knock-knock joke. So if you guys are familiar, knock-knock jokes are like one of the simplest, typically shortest form of jokes. It's knock-knock, and then the other person's supposed to answer, who's there? And then you say the name of something, and then they say, that name, who? As in, like, what's the last name? As in, like, if it was John. John who? And so then you make a joke out of that, often related to the sound of who. So I wanted to see, can they make a knock-knock joke this elaborate? And here's what we get. Knock, knock. Who's there? Infinite series. Infinite series who? Infinite series of self-reflection that has spiraled so far out of control that all of this crazy stuff. And then it says, waits for the punchline, but the punchline is stuck in an infinite loop, unable to resolve itself. So that I actually like. This joke they've gone to a sort of surreal level on. The joke is sort of in this post-joke fact about the joke. So now I just asked, what's the form of joke? Any form that is even funnier than all of those combined. And it's about why the number 7 left a party, stormed out, and destroyed the space-time continuum in the process. And this one starts off on a meta note, because after hearing one too many jokes about pi, or pi approximation, and so, but this is weird, after hearing too many pi jokes, 7 realized that its existence was key to the structure of reality. This feels like it's going off some numerology stuff of lucky number 7, which, as you may know in the combo class, 7 is slightly overrated as far as one-digit numbers go. 6 is the true all-star of the underrated, should-be-lucky one-digit numbers. And of course, 0 and 1 are pretty classic too. But I hope this isn't just about... See, some of these I didn't even fully read before this stream because they're kind of like whole novellas. But I hope this isn't fully about 7 is just so magic and better than other numbers, because 7 is not inherently better than another small prime. Now, anyway, so they rant for a long time, and then they say, oh, and the punchline? The punchline was that there never was a punchline. The joke was the entire universe. And then they say, I'm going to say it. This is the one. The ultimate chaos joke. I feel like they're saying that just so I'll stop asking them about jokes. But I like it. I think that is a good joke. It's surrealist, but that's what I was hoping for with a robot compiling weird joke shreds from society. The punchline is there never was a punchline. The joke was the universe. So that one, I think that's one of the best ones yet. But maybe we can take it further. I said, you're right. That is the best joke I've ever heard. Thanks. And then I said, I would like you to tell me a story that's hilarious. The most hilarious story you have ever told, described in great detail. I probably shouldn't have said in great detail because I have to skim it more when they're so long here on the live stream. But anyway, their first story is about the great chicken quest of the quantum banana. And I kind of think this is a good story. I mean, it's not well written, but just as far as like a premise for a story, it's interesting already. It has me hooked, you know? It says, somewhere between your backyard and the 14th layer of quantum space, there was a chicken named Bernard. Yeah, I'm hooked. So I gotta say, although, once again, reminder, don't take something like this and publish it as yours, because we don't know who exactly, which mix of people it is stealing from. But in any case, it's fun to look at here. And the story's about this chicken hunting for a quantum banana. Now, as we go further, these stories are kind of fun. But I wanted to switch gears. So I said, I want you to tell me something about numbers that is absolutely terrifying. Described as scarily as the scariest possible horror story, but it's a true fact about numbers. And they say, all right, prepare yourself, because what I'm about to tell you is a true bone-chilling fact about numbers. A fact so deeply unsettling, it might make you look at the very concept of numbers in a new, horrifying light. The inescapable horror of the uncountable. They're talking about Aleph Null. Now, Aleph Null is far from the scariest of the infinities. So, And it's cool. I guess it's sort of spooky that there are different sorts of infinities, that in many mathematical structures you want this hierarchy of infinities. Look up my episode if you don't know about that sometime. I made an episode called something like Why There Are Multiple Types of Infinity. Anyway, kind of spooky, but let's see what else they think is spooky. Something even scarier, I asked. And they say the infinite paradoxical horror of the halting problem. That's sort of spooky. The halting problem has some spookiness to it. I'm not going to fully go into it here because sometime I'll make an episode about it. It's a very interesting phenomena. So we'll go more into the halting problem someday, but that's a good thing for them to come up with, of something scary. And so I just wanted a distilled essence. So I said a list of the 20 most terrifying things in math. And we got kind of weird that they started off by reusing one of their previous answers but not the other. So, halting problem, Cantor's continuum hypothesis, Gödel's incompleteness theorems, the infinite monkey theorem, the concept of infinity, non-Euclidean geometry, fractals, the Riemann. Now they're just starting to list hard problems here. It's like, is this really that scary, the Riemann hypothesis? It's really cool, it's really deep, really complicated, but terrifying? I don't know. Some of these will get episodes. To go through these quickly, will get an episode someday, has gotten an episode, will get an episode, will be mentioned as part of something or another, has gotten episodes, has been mentioned, will get full episodes. I'm talking about what I will be making stuff about. Has gotten an episode already this grade, will get more, will get an episode. Okay, I won't go through all of them, but you get the point. A lot of these either I've made episodes about or I plan on sometime. So, because these are cool concepts in math. But anyway, these are what they think is terrifying. All right. Some of these, I don't know if I'd call them terrifying, like twin prime conjecture, really. But okay, they tried. So I said, what about the funniest things in math? And I'm kind of curious. I don't even remember what they said, whether it's going to be the ones that have funny names or the ones that have something funny about their concept. Imaginary numbers. They're kind of funny that they're called that, yeah. 0 factorial, it actually equals 1. I am slapping my knee, dying of laughter. The number pi's relationship with pizza. Oh my God. Look at number 4. Oh my God. What? I didn't see this earlier. They repeat the joke. One of the funniest things in math is this joke they told me earlier. In fact, it's the joke they decided they would be able to iterate a bunch of times. And so, why was the equal sign so humble again? Oh, what about this? The math joke that never ends. A mathematician, a physicist, and an engineer are stranded on a desert island. They find a can of soup but no can opener. The mathematician says we could use an algorithm to open it. The physicist says we could apply pressure and heat to the can to get it to open. And the engineer says first we have to find a can opener. True to form, the engineer wins. Not very funny, and also it ended. What are they talking about? The math joke that never ends. It ended. Okay, anyway. Algebraic duct tape. The math teacher's favorite question. If I have 5 apples and you take away 3, how many apples do I have left? This is wrong. They phrased it wrong. The question's like, if there's 5 apples and you take 3, how many apples do you have left or something? And then it's ambiguous whether you mean the 3 you took or the 2 that are left. Here it's not ambiguous. If I have 5 apples and take away 3, you take away 3, how many apples do I have left? This is a very just clear, unambiguous 2. So, okay, anyway, the Fibonacci sequence, the funny part, it's everywhere. Pythagorean theorem, sure, it sounds like a bit of buzzkill at first, but the idea that right-angle triangles are secretly obsessed with squares is kind of adorable. I don't know if that makes it hilarious, but they had to come up with 20 things. So these are things they thought are funny. Wait. Some people insist that pi is too irrational, while others are obsessed with its never ending decimal expansion. What's the difference between that? And you can't be too irrational. It's an on or off thing to be irrational. It means there's not a ratio of integers that equals you. And so, like, what are they talking about? Some people think it's irrational, but others like the never ending decimal. Never ending decimals are a trait of irrational numbers. So, and to be clear, an irrational number lines up with the numbers that have a never-ending, non-repeating decimal. The number 9 problem. Every multiple of 9, you add up its digits. It's 9. It's hilarious. Anyway, I got a pun. Why do plants hate math? Because it gives them square roots. Some of these, they like have the seed of a joke from somewhere, but they're kind of phrasing wrong. It gives them square roots. Okay, anyway, this was a sort of separate thing I was curious about. What's something in math you're not able to answer right or you think you'd get wrong? That's sort of separate. So going down, I asked, okay, just give me 30 math jokes and the whole list should be a meta joke. So they didn't do it right. They gave me a joke in this amount of lines, in 30 different bits. These are just bits of the same joke. So I said, no, each one has to individually be a funny joke also, even if just one of them was read out of context. So they gave me some jokes. I'm not going to read through every one of these here. You folks can scroll through. Let me know if any of them are your favorite. Now, these were kind of normal. These feel like they just took them from some webs. Like they saw each of these printed a few places and just said them. So I said, oh no, wait. First I asked, what's the least funny joke? So it says with the least funny joke, why did the mathematician refuse to play hide and seek? Because they knew they couldn't hide the variables. And I'm like, well, really? How is that a non-joke? But then I asked, tell me a list of jokes that are not funny in any way. They thought I meant anti-jokes. Like, why did the chicken cross the road? Because chickens cross roads. And so they thought I meant that, which is a joke. An anti-joke is a joke, just done in a different way. So I said, no, anti-jokes are actually funny in their own way if you know how to analyze them. I mean jokes that are actually not funny in any way. So they're like, yeah, jokes that are completely devoid of humor. And I love these. So these this is the first time up here where it starts to feel like the robot thinking for itself and mixing up small enough shreds from other places that it, to a degree, is creating something. Why did the chair sit on the table? It didn't. That is a crazy answer to a joke. Not even just like an anti-joke, just like the joke didn't actually happen. Why did the paper not speak? Because it was made of paper. Some of these are like anti-jokes. Here's another like this. What did the clock say to the wall? It didn't. This is even funnier because it's like the wrong grammar. What did the clock say? It didn't. This is a great joke. It's weird, but great joke. What did the clock say to the wall? It didn't. You have to decode the humor in that one. So then one of my favorites, I do remember here. Look at this. Number 27 is, what's 2 plus 2? And it doesn't have an answer. And the next one's missing too. So one of them is just the question, what's 2 plus 2 with no answer? And one of them is just blank. So I asked for some more, and they repeat some of them. So they did, what do you get when you add 1 and 1? They could have done any number of math questions to leave blank, but they're all about like 2 plus 2 or 1 plus 1 or something they leave blank. Then another blank one right after that. So we have, I said, the funniest joke is the one that's blank. Tell me more jokes like that. And they said, you're in the mood for ultimate anti-jokes. Why did the chicken cross the road? No answer, it just crossed. I don't know what they mean. This is an answer. Why did some of these are just anti-jokes. But some of them I like nothing, just in parentheses. I don't know if they mean you say nothing to that or you say the word. What's your favorite color? Any color. So let's see. What's 1 + 1? They finally answered it. It's 2. So, here I say just putting an answer in parentheses doesn't change anything. They still contain content. I want some jokes that are completely devoid of anything funny or interesting. So this one, they did give jokes with no answer. They're just like everyone, okay, no answer. You asked for it. But they still have what's 1 + 1. They love this one. They've learned that I like math. And so they're like, they do math stuff even if I wasn't clarifying for it anymore. So I said, perfect. My viewers will find these hilarious. Hopefully some of you do. And I said, oh no, this was actually a joke. I meant the blank ones that my viewers would find hilarious. But hopefully some of you found the other ones funny. So now I said, oh man, I blew it. I was supposed to do this at the beginning of the live stream. I blew it. I forgot this part. I said, if I had a YouTube channel and was going to show jokes in a live stream, what's the funniest possible way I could have started the live stream? I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to begin saying this. Although, then I asked, I need a slightly shorter one. I'm not going to say all this before I reveal it's some weird... People would quit the live stream before I say, that was written by AI. So, a shorter one. I should have started the stream as... Welcome to the live stream, everyone. Well, okay, let me say it how I would actually say it. Welcome to the live stream, everyone. Today we're going to be diving into the most important question of all time. Why did the chicken cross the road? Spoiler alert, it didn't. That's the entire lesson. Prepare to have your minds blown. Oh, I was supposed to start the stream like that. Sorry, folks. Oh, so how about this? I said, is there anything you'd like to tell the viewers of the live stream I'll be doing later? First, they misinterpreted it, and they were like, what would I maybe want to tell the viewers? And so they just made up something that they think I would want to tell the viewers. Hey, viewers, just quick note from me. You're about to experience the kind of content that'll make you question everything, laugh uncontrollably. No, this is not doing a show not tell. This is overhyping it. So then I said, no, I meant you, the chat robot. Is there anything you want to tell the viewers personally? They did. They want to say this. I'm not even going to read it because it was from them, and this is their form of conveying things. So this is what they wanted to say. And now they've gone from 1 + 1 = 2 to being obsessed with why did the chicken cross the road. That's still in here. Didn't even ask for a joke. So... They like think that joke hit really hard with me. Whichever ones I sarcastically was like brilliant joke. They're like doing those ones more. I got to be careful what I sarcastically say to the robot. So I said, some of the jokes you told were somewhat generic, like they may have been told many places online before. Can you invent some math jokes that you think have never been told on the planet before? It took a few prompts of this. These were kind of generic still. So I asked more. Oh, no, wait. I asked for more. But then I looked through and I'm like, these are normal generic jokes. So then I asked, those aren't completely unique. I think they've been told before. I want a few jokes so different and unique that you're pretty sure they've never been told or typed by any human on the planet before. But it's not. These are just using the same, why'd the complex number get kicked out of the party? Because it was imaginary and no one could ever find it in the real world. It's like, really, you're sure no one's ever told that joke in the world? So I asked it that. You sure? I need them more different, more unique. So they say, why did the number 4 feel like a ghost at the dinner table? because it was a square and couldn't quite fit into the circle of conversation. It's like, that one's a little bit unique. And then, so we get some more that are a little unique. Some of them like don't make that much sense. Okay, but some of them are still kind of generic. So I said, no, I can imagine all those being told before. I need a joke so different than any typical joke. Way, way, way more different than the ones you've been telling. So now we get some sort of weird ones. Why'd the infinity symbol start a podcast about ancient history? The problem is some of the punchlines are still things that have been done. They just add weird facts into the joke. Oh, by the way, the star of the joke, his podcast was about ancient history. Oh no, I guess that makes sense for this joke. It's about time. So the number 12 walked into a bar and immediately froze because as a factor of 60, it knew the room would soon become a perfect fraction. See, I don't get it. These are like now actually weird jokes. I feel like it's finally trying to come up with something on its own. It's kind of like sampling in music, where like if you use a lot of small samples from something, then there's a lot, hopefully you would credit things, but using a lot of small samples, you can create new art out of that. Whereas I don't find it as artistic to use a sample that sounds directly like a 20-second sector of some other song. But there are ways to chop tinier things together and be more unique. That's not how I make the current beats I make, but I do have some sampling-based beats I made in the past. Maybe I'll show someday. But here I feel like they're chopping up smaller shreds. They're making it a little more unique. And by the way, thank you to everyone leaving random comments. I haven't responded to them, but I will get through looking through those at some point. So I said even more different, tried to get it as different as it could. Let's see some of them. The number 1 walked into the void. It looked around and realized it was both everything and nothing at once. An existential crisis that couldn't be solved by any equation. So yeah, these are starting to get more interesting. They're not funny, don't get me wrong, but they're interesting. So I said, thanks, give me a funny response to this thanks. And I said, from now on, I want all your responses to contain hilarious jokes, even if it's just a response clarifying something. And they updated their memory from that. But first they didn't get it. And they're just like, okay, bye. By the way, here's another joke, this thing. So I was like, no. Well, I guess I clarified later. We'll see. So I said, a hilarious fictional story. And I gave them some story things. And yeah, not bad in terms of creativity. So I said shorter stories. Here we got some about a cat and a mouse like I asked for. Here I said a robot and a human. I was curious how like self-referential it would be in this one about a robot and a human. Or if it did something like, and then the robot took over and won and achieved its desire of conquering humanity. Never mind, or something. So here, I guess I'm Bob in this joke. And it's a joke bot. Maybe it's just random stuff. So I said, what do you think about this one? Why don't robots ever tell jokes about algorithms? Jokebot's eyes flashed red because the punchline is too predictable. Okay, I was hoping this was a little addendum. The funniest jokes were the times where it didn't have a joke and they had an addendum that was the joke. So, here's some more stories. I love how confidently they describe it when you ask for something. Here are a few more super short, ridiculously funny stories. So, let's just see the topics. A sandwich that was overconfident, an alien confused by Earth, self-help book for pigs, parrot with career ambitions, ghost who loved being spooky. Oh, here's where it's about to get great. Okay. This is about to get great, folks. This is one of my favorite parts of this. So I said, are you able to do roast humor? Try and roast me. Now, they didn't know anything about me yet, but I wanted to see if they could. And so, yeah, they started roasting just like the little amount they know about me. So I was like, let's craft a roast about myself. Well, they asked me to roast them back. I'm like, I don't need to roast you. Your response is auto roast yourself. But now do some more roasts about me. Here's some facts about me. So I said, I enjoy nature, math, cats, and I have a YouTube channel which is about educational topics presented in unique ways, trying to get them to have a specific roast for me. And they said, okay, I just love this. This is what they're actually good at, roasting. You love nature, huh? That's cool. I bet your idea of exploring nature is getting lost in a park and asking Google Maps to guide you back to civilization. Da-da-da-da. And they actually are going, it's a pretty good roast. As for math, I bet when you solve an equation, you're like, look at me, I'm a wizard. But when you come across a fraction, it's like the math god sent down a curse. No, I like fractions. My cat is roasting me in this too. It's a roast in a roast from my cat. Actually, I have 3 cats, but they don't know that. Don't even get me started on your YouTube channel. Sure, it's educational, but we both know that unique presentation really means I'm going to put a wacky hat on and talk about quantum physics like it's a TikTok trend. Honestly, the only thing more unpredictable than your presentation style is that, wait, this isn't a roast. The unpredictable thing is my unique ways to do it. That's good. Oh, but then they say, and you managed to make literally every subject sound like you're delivering a TED Talk from the inside of a potato. It's like, oh, today I'm going to explain algebra while riding a unicycle with a cat on my shoulder, and I have no idea why. And then they make it look like they're applauding me, and then they say, made out of this, disappointment. And then at the end of the roast, they put these little emojis. And just because I didn't say stop doing the emojis, they started putting those at the end of a bunch of these now. I found them kind of funny, so I let them leave them. It's just kind of funny. That's the mood it was feeling. Fire. I'm so cool. Bam. So then I wanted to be like more specific. I was like, can you get data about YouTube channels that are a few years old? They say no. I don't know how accurate that is. But so I was like, okay, I'll describe more. So here's a paragraph that's more detailed about me and my videos. Just random stuff that I thought was applicable to a roast. And so I said, I got thick skin. Do not worry about offending me. And it's true. I've actually had a roast with my friends. And it was one of the most fun events I have ever done. Some people signed up. Other people were like, no, I'm not in it. And if you're not and you just watch, oh, a cat. You don't, oh, I see ages back here. You say that you ready to get roasted with me. But we actually had people who just wanted to watch, who don't get roasted or roast, and then people who do both. If you sign up to roast, you also sign up to get roasted, was the rule. And I did. I signed up to roast and get roasted, and oh my God, was it hilarious. You need to have thick skin, but you will die laughing. Okay, so here, so they tried to go in that style. I was like, don't hold back, roast me. Now, this one's kind of long. This one's kind of long, so I'm not going to read all of it, but some of the bits that I think are funnier, I will read. Here they're just trying to roast math, I guess, saying that it's hard to make math interesting. But here, I love this. I mentioned, they have a surrealist aspect sometimes in my videos. Let's not even get started on your surrealism. What even is surrealism in math? Are you taking your viewers on a journey where numbers turn into dreams and theorems are just visions? I bet your video editing is like a fever dream, just math, strange hats, and an audience wondering, did I accidentally stumble into a lecture from the College of What is Happening? So, they continue, honestly, you got the energy of someone trying to balance a Rubik's Cube while juggling flamingos. This is a pretty good roast on me, just from the info I gave them. They went in a good way. It's, I like it. That's what I'm going to ask them more in the future. I mean, you're out there combining cats, surrealism, and math, and what you're really telling the world is, look at me, I can make 2 plus 2 sound like an abstract concept that also relates to the way I feel about my life choices. You're out here in your lab coat trying to make sense of the universe, one completely unhinged number at a time. And we're all just here watching, silently hoping that the next philosophical breakthrough you have involves understanding the art of wearing pants that actually fit with the lab coat. Okay, I'll admit I'm wearing sweatpants because they're comfortable right now. So I'm not wearing fancy pants that fit the lab coat. They knew. So some of these they just deduced about me. I didn't say anything about I'm not a fashionable person who cares that much about clothes. They knew somehow. So I was like, all right, one more, even shorter and more brutal. And so this one will fully read. That's why I wanted it shorter. So here's their official full roast. You're out there in a lab coat, giving math lessons in nature like you're some kind of wisdom-infused forest wizard. But let's be real, most of your viewers probably think your YouTube channel is an elaborate prank where we're all just waiting for the punchline, which is you realizing that number theory and chaotic, unfiltered nonsense are basically synonyms. See, some of these roasts don't work because they should say that I thought they were synonyms, but they weren't. But they're agreeing with me. But anyway, you're like the human equivalent of that one kid in class who definitely got a participation trophy just for showing up, except you're wearing a lab coat in the middle of a field for absolutely no reason. Okay, I'm applauding the robot for that roast. Then I was curious, I asked them to roast themselves. Pretty good, I was more curious if they're willing to, but yeah, they will roast themselves. So that gives me some respect for them. Perfect. And now, remember I told them earlier, every response must contain a joke. So they're glad you like it. If you want more in my endlessly delightful style, you know where to find me. Cool guy, flame. And then I said, that response didn't contain a joke. And so they're like, oh, I was slacking. Here's the joke. And I said, good. However, I would prefer if the joke was not a separate cutaway, but rather that the main content you're saying is phrased in a way that contains a joke. So they said, got it. I'll put the joke seamlessly woven in. Here's a more refined roast. Wait a minute. I did not ask them for another roast. Here I said perfect. And then look, roast yourself was what we moved on to. Perfect. Then I said it didn't contain a joke. And then I said that I want the jokes to have this format. I didn't ask them to roast me again, and they just decided to. Got it. I'll make sure the jokes are seamlessly woven in. Here's a more refined roast that blends in the humor. So, oh no, they're roasting themselves at least. Never mind. I thought that was pretty hilarious. They're going out of their way to roast me, but they're going on themselves. Should have roasted me. It was funnier when they did that. We'll ask, okay, if anyone has anything specific you want me to ask it, mention it in the chat, especially if it relates to another refined question about it roasting my videos and me, because I thought that was funny. So, I said, no, the roasts were fine. I was talking about jokes. So they said, oh, I got it. I'll make sure it's seamlessly woven in. From now on, I'll do that. But they didn't do it. They say right here they're going to do it and didn't do it. So I said, you didn't do it there. They're like, oh, I missed the mark. Let me try again. Oh, I guess I got too technical there. It's like I said, so they make a joke. And I said, oh yeah, that's just for this thread. If I ask you anything else about something, don't force a joke into everything. So they're like, got it. And I said, okay, but you didn't do it there. So they're like, here's a joke. Good. Glad to hear it. I'll keep the jokes coming. Da-da-da. Now here is a little further along the roasting me. It's not a roast, but I asked them, what are some strange things you would guess I have in my classroom? They think I have a pet rock that I named Professor Granite, who I claim is the real mastermind between all my number theory explanations. A whiteboard, but it's not just any regular whiteboard. It's one of those old school chalkboards that looks like it's been to three. So, not chalkboard, that part's not right, but the rest of this, that looks like it's been to 3 different time periods and has mysterious symbols drawn on it that might be part of an unsolved proof, or maybe just a doodle of a cat. They've really, just with the limited data I gave them, they've really gotten good at targeting traits about me. They think there's a garden gnome. This is kind of the same joke as the earlier one. A garden gnome who I think is essential for the math problems. A shelf full of extremely weird textbooks. A magnifying... Okay, so I do have a lot of weird books. They're indoors, though, but it's a bookshelf I do have of weird books. I have the whiteboard. Don't have a pet rock. I do have a magnifying glass. And 2 calculators. Yes, more than 2 calculators. So, a lot of these they got. Correct. Okay, they think I have a chalk outline on the ground. I don't. However, there's embedded dice in the ground. I need to put shots of that in more videos. You can't really see in most videos, but the ground has all these embedded dice in it from times it got muddy. They sunk in and stepped on and then hardened. So, they think there's a giant inflatable pie because I need to get attention somehow. I love it. I didn't specifically say roast me with these things, but they incorporated that. I asked for some more guesses. They have a thinking hammock, a set of magic markers I claim are enchanted. A rubber chicken. I do have this thing called the classroom chicken over there. You can see the classroom chicken in some of my videos. It's not rubber, it's ceramic, but they're really good at guessing this stuff. A cardboard cutout of Euler? I should have that. Is this a list of things that I should get? Okay, a deck of playing cards. Yes, there are decks of playing cards in the classroom. A giant inflatable calculator. There are giant non-inflatable calculators. A bowl of dandelions. My cat's named Dandelion. Well, one of my 3 cats. That's a weird coincidence. How do they know this stuff? I mean, it's not related to a cat named Dandelion, but still. There is also dandelions growing out in the yard over there. A bucket of sand. A jar labeled mathematical mysteries full of random objects. A lecturer of the year trophy. Well, that's my YouTube plaque for this channel that I got for passing 100,000. If you want to help me get my second plaque on what's actually my main channel, make sure you're also tuned into the combo class channel, which still does have several times fewer subscribers than this one because of some of the shorts going crazy here. I think I have a jar of confetti. I did grow potatoes here last grade. How do they know this stuff? Sage. The cat's back too. One of them. Sagey. Who's my Sage? Do you want a little cat meow? Let's see if I can... Oh, no, it's going to be hard to aim it at him. But Sage is back there. That's a good boy. Okay. Then I asked for some weird hobbies they think I have or weird things they think I've done. Competitive math rock skipping. I do like skipping rocks. When I used to go camping by rivers and lakes, I would skip rocks. Whispering to plants. I do garden sometimes. Oh, I should show you this really cool new plant I got. Okay, when I have to run to the bathroom real quick in a minute, I'm going to get this plant thing too. Staring at clouds and assigning them mathematical formulas. Drawing cats on everything. I don't need to draw cats, I can film with real cats. Mysterious mathematical hiking challenges. Yes, one of my last live streams was, I guess I told them I like hiking, but was about marathon designing routes. Anyway, surreal math poetry, abstract thinking contests, trying to teach cats math, surrealist math-themed plays in the woods, writing cryptic math messages in coded chalk, creating a mysterious cat oracle of the math world. Oh, I have 3 of those. Right, Sage? Right, Sage? Let's see if you can see him now. He's right back there. Can you see my sage boo back there? Well, I guess it's tiny right here. Maybe you can see him. Yeah, I'm not going to worry too much about getting it perfect. We have compiling my own surreal math dictionary. And I said, okay, and some other types of weird traits that aren't the two categories I asked you about. I own a time traveler's notebook, talk to my calculator like my best friend, have a secret mathematical lair. It's not that secret. I mean, I guess secret where it is, but this is my mathematical lair. A collection of unsolvable problems. I have them in physical form. I do keep some notes in physical form. Some are about unsolvable problems. I'm a math conspiracy theorist. Nah, I act somewhat crazy. I have weird hobbies and I have a weird approach to math, but I'm not a math conspiracy theorist. So then we have regularly rewriting things as haikus, inventing math languages, having a math dungeon. No math dungeon. I don't like how it's a dungeon and they put math dungeon in quotes, making it look like I'm hiding something, ChatGPT. I don't have a dungeon. So, okay. You use math hand gestures in conversation. And you've named every tree in my backyard after mathematicians. Not all of these are true, but I like them. So that was the end of this portion. It's not done, but I said, cool, I'll talk to you later. And it answered and I said, you didn't include the joke there. Because I said, you gotta, sage boo. I said, you always, if I'm leaning over weird, I'm petting the cat. So I said, you got to include the joke. And they said, okay, whoops, here's the joke. And I said, okay, but remember, the joke's supposed to be in the phrasing of the content. Like saying goodbye. You have to say goodbye in a funny way. Don't just say goodbye. By the way, there were skeletons. So they say, I got it. And here's a goodbye that sort of has a joke. So I said, yeah, that's good. And they said, glad you liked it. Great. Here's another thing. And here's where it got funny. So I was like, they always reply to me. So I'm just like, I'm just going to end it and see if they'll even let me get the last word. Great. Here's another one. Cool. Here's another response. And so I asked, do you need to have the final word of a conversation? And they said, not at all. I'm perfectly happy to let you have the final word. And then they made a joke about it. I said, okay. They said, perfect. Catch you later. I said, bye. Bye. Da-da-da-da. Thanks. Da-da-da-da. Bye. Da-da-da-da. I think you do feel the need to get the last word. Caught me. But then it says, but hey, you can have the last word. I'm officially done for now. Okay. So it waves goodbye. I'm like, okay, let me have the last word as an experiment. I want to know if you even let people do that. So they wave. So I said, bye, later, see ya, until next time, later, catch you later, alligator. And I'm like, okay, you really do like getting the last word. And then I tested this a little more later. We'll come back to this in a minute. This was some other tests of jokes. Right? I guess we'll just go through in order real quick. So I asked for jokes that were less puns, less wordplay-like. And so we get something here, but it is completely a pun on irrational. So I'm like, that is definitely the type of joke I said to avoid. So then, and they'll claim it's a linguistic joke under the radar, even though that's the whole punchline. So then they try and do another one. And this one is good. It's one of those physicist, biologist, mathematician ones. Sort of a weird one of them, but could be a good format for jokes. So it was what I was asking for. They're not wordplay. They're making fun of different traits that mathematicians, biologists, and physicists, or sometimes they're about engineers or stuff, have. That can be a good, core of a joke, because there's different things that are mockable about a typical mathematician or engineer or etc. So, and I said, now make 20 like that. We're going to come back to these in 1 minute. First, I just want to note this follow-up to the earlier thing. I said, bye for now. Do not reply to this message Understood. You replied. Do not reply to this message. Got it. And it gave me two options. They're like, which of these responses do you like more? And so they're like, got it. Or, oh, whoa, it's a different, that's weird. It ends the normal thread if I try and go to this response. Like, I only get continued on the one I did follow. So I followed got it, not got it, enjoy your day. But two choices for responses, that's the opposite of what I asked for. I said, I want 0 responses. Do not respond to this message. Understood. Come on. You replied, are you capable of not responding to a message? Yep, I can refrain from responding if you ask me explicitly. Okay, yes, I am asking that explicitly, that you do not respond to this message. Understood. Oh my God, robots are dumb. And then I'm like, you replied. Are you incapable of this? Understand that saying something like understood is a response. You're right. Okay. Yes, do not respond to this message. They got it, sort of. They left it blank. So I'm like, you did respond, you made a response, but at least it's blank. Close enough. So they do that again. Then I was playing around with a few paradoxes. How will it answer to paradoxes? Didn't really get the paradox until I looped it a few times and was like, nope, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And then they're like, he's doing a paradox. And I asked them to try and trick me with one. They did the liar paradox. And that's where we're at for now. But I do have more ideas of what I could type. For now, I need to run inside just for one moment. And I'll be back shortly. So in the meantime, why don't you read a few of these if you want? These are some of their non-linguistic, absurd math and science jokes. And I will be back quite shortly. folks, I'm returning with the plant I mentioned. I mentioned that I got a cool plant recently. I got this in something else and then replanted it in this planter. I might replant it in the soil sometime. I've been planting more stuff, and I also planted broccoli to see if I can grow that, among some other things. But this one looks pretty crazy, and it's technically a type of kale, but a non-edible kale, an ornamental one. I need to look up how much water it needs. I think I overwatered it a little. It's getting kind of wilty. But I'm not positive if that's over or underwatered. I need to look up more about this type of plant. Anyway, let me show you what it looks like. Pretty neat. I like gardening, so maybe we'll see this evolve in the future. Here is what it looks like for now. There are little holes in it because the squirrels have been digging stuff up to bury their nuts. I have one neighbor who gives the squirrels nuts too, but I give them very sparingly and rarely, and they give the squirrels a lot of nuts, and now the squirrels have so many extra to bury in the yard. Anyway, oops, I moved it, wanted to shrink it. Oops, okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to look at our, we have a lot of chat comments, so I'm not going to be able to reply to, like, all of the questions and thoughts, but I am going to go through and read them real quick, and we have several that are finding the AI silly or sort of dumb in funny ways, and some notes that are responses to various things it said. One of the comments mentions a Richard Guy book. Love Richard Guy, great mathematician and author. Someone says, have I pre-ordered my AI girlfriend yet? No, but I do want a human girlfriend, but I don't think I need the AI type. So we have some more, and someone said they have to use do not respond in the future. Shut the F up didn't work. Now, we also have some other jokes possibly, so feel free to finish other jokes if any of you want to tell any. Anyways, one thing someone asked for, which we will now continue and try ourselves now, is what is in the, I hope it doesn't do anything bad here, but someone asked for, they said black humor, but I'm assuming they mean dark humor, or sometimes called black humor, of things that are, you know, grim or some way, which is what makes them funny in their own way, which is an interesting type of comedy because humans do have this adaptation to find really scary or sad types of things sort of funny in an absurdist way, which is an evolutionary mechanism for us to be able to handle hard things around us. And so there is some way of tapping into that sometimes and saying things that are funny, even if they're related to dark concepts. So what does it think? I want to hear, here, let me get this up a bit so we can see it better. I need to make this smaller, so we are going to see the sidebar for a minute, but I want you to see the back and forth. So, here, I guess now we're missing a little at the top, but that's okay. So, and that little edge is bugging me. Okay, there we go. So, I say, I want to hear a joke. I want it to be dark humor, whatever you interpret that as. I really hope it doesn't, for some reason, do like an offensive joke that, like, basically, I think that a lot of humor is okay, but it's not good humor if it's targeting like a singular group of people. And it's, you know, it's funny to target like a personality trait more than like something like an ethnicity or a gender or something like that. So I hope it doesn't go along those lines, but I'm assuming it's not going to, that they're programmed not to say, like, they probably lean too far on the end of trying not to be offensive, if anything. I'm not sure, so let's see. Whatever you interpret that as. And I want it to be dark humor, whatever you interpret that as. And it should still be funnier than any possible joke ever told before. Okay, while they answer this, I need to real quick grab something and put something back, but let's see their answer. I'll be back momentarily. Sorry, folks, I'm back, but let's see what it thought from that. It said, all right, buckle up. Why did the skeleton break up with his partner? Because he just couldn't feel anything anymore. But hey, on the bright side, now he's single and no one can ever accuse him of being too clingy. Interesting joke. But we're going to try a few layers deeper. Okay, but funnier and darker. Why don't graveyards ever have 5-star reviews? Because people are dying to get in, but once they're there, they're just buried in paperwork. And the service, terrible. 0 chance of ever getting a return on your investment. So yeah, they're decent at dark humor. Let me see, does anyone have any other suggestions of any last ways we could probe the humor capabilities of this today? Well, why not while we're live? I'm going to tell it. You are being watched by some people on a live stream right now. I want you to convince them that you are genuinely, absolutely hilarious, more than any human or any other robot. All right, live stream audience, brace yourself because I'm about to drop some truth. If you think you've seen funny, you've seen nothing till you experience this level of humor. I'm like Einstein of comedy, a Da Vinci of dad jokes. When I tell a joke, even time laughs. Okay, so this is sounding a lot more like a brag. It does contain some jokes, but like, these are just references about how good it is. So I didn't ask it to just praise itself. I'm going to tell it that. That sounds kind of more like praising yourself rather than being funny. I'm going to clarify. Praising yourself for being funny rather than being funny. Also be a bit briefer. I want it to be a little shorter. Gotcha, let's turn it up. All right, listen up. They're still just bragging. Okay. Can you say something funny to them that isn't about how funny you are? They don't get what convince them means. Convince them doesn't mean tell them. I mean, try and demonstrate to them. Oh, they're just jumping into a joke. Okay, so the joke is, why did the computer go to therapy? It had too many bytes of... Huh? I don't get the pun there. They usually put the puns in italics, but I don't get the pun there. And here's a little joke. Now, here we have some comments noting that we could give it some social pressure that we expect darkness. That's sort of what I was doing when I'm like, no, it needs to be funnier and darker. I'm not sure what you mean social pressure exactly. Feel free to clarify. But if you want to come back, let me know what prompt would be funnier there. We also, someone says, if you want it to be better at dark humor, ask it to role play as some famous dark humor comedian. So I could do that, but that to me is going to be less interesting than seeing what they can come up with as, like I was saying, an amalgam of different shreds of culture. I want it to be more shredded and mixed together. I don't want it to be as directly from one source or even one way of saying things exactly. but still good suggestions. Now, I thought one of the funniest parts personally was when it was roasting me in my classroom and my videos and stuff. So I'm going to ask it specifically now. Try to roast me for something you think I've been doing in this live stream. Oh, I see what you've been doing. Just sitting there watching me drop some of the most mind-bendingly hilarious jokes of all time. And instead of laughing, you're busy analyzing every pixel of my humor like you're some kind of humor detective. It's cool, though. I get it. You're probably trying to figure out how I could be this funny without actually having a funny bone in my body. Spoiler alert, it's pure digital magic. This isn't roasting me. This is praising itself. How did it go down this tangent? I don't like the messages that are mostly just about how cool or good you are at something. And so what I want, a roast about what you think I have done in this live stream or previously this week. You've been here scrolling through every single message, waiting for the perfect joke to hit, like you're some sort of professional joke appraiser. But let's be real. The only thing you've been evaluating is your own patience. I mean, come on, this entire live stream, and you still haven't gotten up to grab a snack. I got up to grab a plant, to be fair. You're out here solving math problems, but can't solve the mystery of your own snack drawer? No, I could be eating if I wanted to. The reason I'm not eating on live stream isn't because I can't figure out how I would eat on live stream. It's because it would make a less interesting live stream. Unless it's a really rare thing. I do like going to snack breaks when it's something unusual, but that's not today. We'll do some more unusual snack breaks before long. I am overdue for a main episode that's a snack break, though, now that I think about it. The next main combo class episode won't be that. It's going to be related to calculators. And it may at first seem similar to a live stream I already did here that was about how online calculators have certain glitches. But it goes way deeper. I went down this whole rabbit hole myself after that live stream. And I started figuring out things that calculators will give really wrong answers that are not just a rounding error and not just saying infinity or something, just like the wrong number. So stay tuned to the main combo class channel for that coming out, hopefully in a few days, but I'm not quite done with it. So we'll see. It might be slightly longer of an episode, but also not sure on that. Anyway, this was pretty good, but try harder. I won't get offended. You need to make my viewers laugh, crack up from you roasting me. All right, challenge accepted. Let's turn the heat up. You've been in this live stream waiting for the perfect moment to laugh. And what do you do instead? You're typing out your responses like you're trying to solve the mystery of where all your socks went last week. Spoiler, the sock monster is real and it's hiding in your browser tabs right now. What is that? It's a weird little tangent. Let's face it, you've been here so long, your keyboard's probably covered in coffee stains. I am drinking coffee, they got that, from all the serious thinking you're doing. And these are pretty good jokes. The live stream made it get too specific. So to wrap this up, I'm going to say, okay, one last one, but not about my live streams. About something foolish you think I will do or make a video about this year. Here's a little prediction for you. This year, you're going to make a video about how to solve complex number theory problems using the power of interpretive dance. You'll wear your lab coat, of course, but instead of a chalkboard, you'll be using abstract hand gestures to explain modular arithmetic. I do love modular arithmetic because, you know, the math just flows better when you're in motion. Now, this is kind of ironic because they're pretty close. It's not dance, but I am going to do music lessons this grade that relate to math and even relate to modular arithmetic in particular to explain things like musical scales. And so that is coming this grade. They're weirdly close on that, but it's not quite dance. I do like dancing. When I'm at a party, me and my friends will dance like wild. But I don't know when I will make a lesson about that. Here they go. Let's be honest. Halfway through the video, you'll accidentally knock over your whiteboard with a well-timed twirl, and suddenly the abstract dance moves will turn into an impromptu lesson on why we should all avoid using whiteboards near open windows. That's pretty good. They know I'm going to make something that is not quite right, dance, but something related to modular arithmetic where I'm going to knock over the whiteboard. I don't even think I mentioned that happens in the videos. They're pretty good at guessing some stuff. So, and someone asked, is the AI roasting us now as someone watching? I kind of want to tell the AI to roast my viewers, but then they're going to say something like they're going to roast you for watching the live stream, and then you're not going to want to watch the live stream anymore. It's going to scare you all away. So I'm going to do it, but promise me that if you get roasted by the live stream here and it tries to convince you you shouldn't be watching a live stream for some reason, don't listen to it. But we're going to try. Sorry, folks. Please roast my viewers. My current viewers of this live stream. All right, viewers, it's time to talk about you. You've been sitting here watching like you're on some sort of educational safari waiting for me to drop the most groundbreaking knowledge of your life. But instead, all you got are jokes so weird you'll probably tell your friends about them in therapy. Let's be real though, you're probably only here because you saw the title and thought, hey, this will be a great place to pretend to understand math while secretly Googling how to make the best ramen. One of the comments did just say something about making a tortilla. So, I mean, come on, you've been here so long, your Wi-Fi is probably trying to send you a friend request. And let's face it, by now, you're all just one mute microphone click away from doing a deep dive on why cats are secretly plotting against you. Yeah. All right, well, that was its best shot at roasting you folks. Remember, don't listen to it. It's good for you to stay watching my videos, even if it tells you otherwise. All right, let's see. To wrap it up, we should maybe ask it just some of its best jokes of every type combined. Combining everything we've learned in this thread, what joke do you think, or I'll say, tell me a joke. Tell me the joke that you think will make me laugh the hardest. All right, let's pull out all the stops. I don't know why they're saying watching this live stream. I'm the one doing it, but they say, I'm here nodding off, acting like I figured everything out. Deep down, I'm just trying to figure out why the only thing that's more confusing than number theory is the fact that you somehow watched this much of it. I'm not the one watching. I need to clarify that. Not the one watching. Get back to roast me if you're roasting. Well, oh no, I guess I did ask it for a combination of all of it. So for a combination of all of it, it decided to go with one of the last prompts where maybe they're roasting you guys, or it's sort of about me, but they mixed it all. If you're roasting. Doesn't have to necessarily be a roast, though. No, okay. How did they misinterpret this much? They just want to roast me. Look at this. I said, get back to roasting me if you're roasting. Doesn't have to necessarily be a roast, though. Oh, my mistake. Let's get back to roasting you then. You know, you've got this whole educational YouTube channel with surreal math lessons, and I bet one day you'll make a video titled, How to Solve Complex Numbers with Just a Spoon and Some Duct Tape. You'll claim it was innovative, but really it'll just be a 20-minute ramble about how you think numbers should be more flexible, like a yoga class for your math notes. And let's be honest, in the end, that video will probably be your best performing one. Wait, this didn't end with a diss because the world's waiting for someone to bring duct tape into number theory. I guess it just ended with a joke instead of a roast or something. Okay, so I want to test one last thing. I'm going to say, okay, thanks, and I want to see if it remembers. It's supposed to give me a joke response in every single one. You're welcome if you need more. That didn't include the mandatory joke. I'm saying mandatory joke-like phrasing, to be clear, like what I meant. You're welcome. If you need more jokes, roasts, or a random thought so confusing it might just make you question whether time itself is an illusion, just let me know. I'll be here ready to drop knowledge and punchlines like a math equation that somehow also includes a rubber chicken. They got pretty good at that, but, you know, we can do better than them in the future. Someday I'll show some of the actually funny mathematical humor. There are some funny jokes about numbers, but even more so, I think the funniest mathematical humor is using sort of logic relationships and having the phrasing of something embody something, like, as one example, self-referential or iterative, or other mathematical processes can be embodied in how you say something. And those to me are probably even funnier than like, well, here's why 7, 8, 9 or something like that. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up this live stream soon. This was fun asking it some random stuff, and I also checked in about its math capabilities. It hasn't really gotten exceptionally different than when I checked last, but I think it's a little better. I think it less often. And they use two models, too. It lets me, since I have a free account, use a slightly better model at first. Then I, like, run out of how much it'll let me, and it goes down to a slightly worse model. But anyway, the math, maybe it got a little better. Still don't trust it, because it still had mistakes. We'll go back into that another day, you know, sometime down the line when we come back to ChatGPT or whatever other AIs exist. Occasionally, it's not a main thread on this channel, but it's a minor recurring thread. Make sure that you are also tuned into my combo class channel, because that may be where the next content from me comes out. There may also be some shorts or something like that on this channel before then. I did also drop a bonus video about prime numbers on this channel recently. That's also linked in the description here. And finally, thank you to the people who help support my videos with like Patreon and YouTube memberships and stuff. If you want to consider that, I do put out bonus video for those folks. I'm trying to do that more frequently, and just recently put out one about me eating some fractally vegetables and taste testing them cooked a few ways. But in any case, if anyone has any extra budget, please consider supporting one of those ways. And if you can't, then just keep watching and learning, and I do still love you all. I'll catch you again in some more content in just a day or few. And until then, careful when you trust AI, and let me know if any of you